The most hated moment in modern women's tennis did not happen during a Grand Slam final or a heated Olympic medal match. It happened on a dusty, uneven clay court in Budapest, in front of fewer than 200 spectators, and it took exactly 3 seconds to destroy a reputation. You have seen the clip 1,000 times on your feed. A 20-year-old Hungarian player walks up to a ball mark on the red clay and scrubs it out with her shoe while her veteran opponent pleads for her to stop. The internet decided instantly that this was a story about a bratty local wildcard cheating a legend. But the viral clip is lying to you. It is lying not about what happened, but about why it matters. Everyone thinks this is just a story about bad sportsmanship. The reality is much darker. This was not just a bad line call or a moment of panic. It was a systemic failure that triggered one of the longest losing streaks in WTA history, exposed a tournament director's shocking bias, and forced the women's tour to issue a rare and humiliating statement on racism. What actually happened in the 5 minutes before the erasure that broke Zhang Shuai's spirit? Did the umpire actually check the wrong mark? And why did the tournament officials accuse the victim of manipulating the world? We are going back to the red clay to find the evidence the cameras missed. You clicked this video because you want to know 3 things. First, was the ball actually in or out, and do we have proof? Second, what was the real reason the tournament director attacked Zhang Shuai after the match? And third, did Amarissa Toth ever face a real penalty for the move that made her public enemy #1? We are answering all 3, starting with the forensic evidence of the mark itself. To understand why the internet exploded, we have to look at the scoreboard and the rulebook. It is July 2023, the Hungarian Grand Prix. Zhang Shuai, a 2-time Grand Slam doubles champion and one of the most universally liked players on tour, is the 2nd seed. She is playing Amarissa Toth, a local wildcard ranked outside the top 500. It is 5 games all in the first set, 15 all. This is the critical juncture where ranking points and prize money are on the line. Zhang hits a cross-court forehand. To the naked eye and to the broadcast cameras, the ball lands clearly on the line. The line judge screams, "Out." Now, on hard courts, we have Hawkeye, electronic line calling, to settle this instantly. On clay, we rely on the archaic system of the umpire's eyes. The chair umpire, Morgan Lara, climbs down from her chair to check the mark. This is standard procedure, but here is where the chaos begins. According to the footage, Zhang is adamant that the ball touched the line. She walks over and points to a specific mark that shows contact with the tape. The umpire, however, walks to a different spot on the clay. In the video, you can see Zhang gesturing wildly, claiming the umpire is looking at the wrong mark entirely. The umpire circles a mark that is clearly out and calls the point for Toth. This is the first failure. The rules of clay court tennis state that the umpire's decision on a mark is final. Once she climbs back into a chair, the conversation is theoretically over, but the match continues for one more point, and Zhang is visibly rattled. She is pleading with the umpire, asking for the tournament supervisor to come out. The ITF rules state that a supervisor can only be called for a law interpretation, not a fact of the match like a line call. But Zhang knows she is being robbed. She is standing at the net, shouting that the ball was on the line. The crowd, heavily Hungarian, starts booing the veteran. This brings us to the moment that changed everything. The rehook here is simple. Why did Toth decide to erase the mark when the point was already over? The answer lies in the psychological warfare of the moment. While Zhang is still arguing with the umpire, technically still trying to get a supervisor to look at the court, Toth walks over to the disputed mark. She sees her coming. You can hear the panic in her voice on the court microphone as she yells, "Wait, wait, wait, keep the mark." Toth ignores her. She scrubs the clay with her left foot, completely erasing the evidence. Why is this so shocking? In tennis culture, specifically on clay, the mark is sacred until the dispute is fully resolved. Erasing it while your opponent is actively arguing about it is seen as the ultimate sign of disrespect. When Zhang asks why she did that, Toth's response is cold. She says, "Because you're making problems." This is the beat that the viral clips usually cut, but it is the most important part. Toth did not just wipe a mark. She gaslit a veteran player in the middle of a mental crisis. Zhang, overwhelmed by the bad call, the hostile crowd, and the erasure of the proof, suffers a severe panic attack on court. She calls for the physio, but she can't breathe. She retires from the match in tears. And then Toth delivers the final insult. As a sobbing Zhang shakes her hand and leaves the court, Toth throws her arms up in the air, celebrating the victory to the cheering home crowd. She didn't win by match point, she won by panic attack. But if you think Toth's footwork was the worst part of this story, you are wrong. The most shocking element of this scandal was not the player, it was the tournament itself. This is the hidden mechanism that most fans missed. The internet reaction to the incident was instant. Top players like Ons Jabeur, Daria Kasatkina, and Martina Navratilova slammed Toth's behavior on social media. Australian player Ellen Perez tweeted that Toth had lost the respect of her peers forever. But instead of de-escalating, the Hungarian Grand Prix doubled down in a way that shocked the tennis world. The tournament's official Facebook page started defending Toth aggressively, but they didn't just say it was a misunderstanding. Comments attributed to the tournament director went on the offensive against Zhang. They claimed that Zhang was a manipulator. A specific comment from the tournament account accused the Chinese player of manipulating the world with the manipulative video. This shifted the story from bad sportsmanship to institutional bias. It was no longer just a 20-year-old making a mistake in the heat of the moment. It was the tournament organizers using inflammatory language to defend a local player against a veteran foreigner. The tennis world watching on Twitter realized this was not a fair fight. The tournament director was essentially endorsing the gaslighting of a player who had just retired with a panic attack. This is what forced the WTA to step in. The WTA does not usually comment on line calls or minor disputes at 250-level tournaments, but the language used by the tournament officials forced their hand. They issued a formal statement promising an investigation and explicitly stating they have zero tolerance for racism. That statement wasn't just about the foot scrub, it was about the toxic defense that followed. The payout here is clear. The tournament director's attempt to defend his player actually caused the governing body to label the incident as potentially racist, staining the event's reputation permanently. Now, we have to look at the human costs. What happened to the two women involved in this mess after the cameras turned off? 2 days after the incident, the tone in Budapest shifted. Toth had been eliminated from the tournament, and the weight of the global backlash finally hit her. She released a video statement. She looked shaken, reading from a script. She apologized to Zhang Shuai, saying she didn't think that her first WTA success would cause such a big storm. She admitted she shouldn't have celebrated and she got caught up in the heat of the match. Was it sincere? Most tennis fans didn't buy it. It felt like damage control ordered by her management to save her career before it even started. But we also have to look at the human element. Toth was a young player in her home tournament, fed energy by a partisan crowd. She likely thought she was standing her ground. She didn't realize that by scrubbing that mark, she was scrubbing her own reputation. Amarissa Toth did not face a formal suspension. She went back to the ITF circuit, the minor leagues of tennis. She is currently ranked outside the top 200, grinding away at small events, forever known as the girl who erased the mark. The viral fame didn't bring her sponsorships. It brought her infamy. She is effectively blacklisted by the locker room, with veteran players wary of her presence. But the real tragedy is Zhang Shuai. That match in Budapest broke something in her. She was already struggling with mental fatigue and physical injuries, but after that incident, she went on the longest losing streak in WTA history. She lost 24 consecutive singles matches. It took her over a year until September 2024 at the China Open to finally win a match again. Think about that timeline. From July 2023 to September 2024, Zhang Shuai did not win a single singles match. She traveled the world, showed up to tournaments, and lost every single time. That 3-second act of erasing a mark contributed to a 14-month nightmare for one of the sport's nicest players. The ranking points she lost in Budapest kicked her out of the seeding for the US Open, leading to tougher draws, more losses, and a spiral that nearly ended her career. So, was the ball in or out? The replay evidence, when slowed down and analyzed with geometry, suggests the ball caught the line. Zhang was right, the umpire was wrong, and Toth erased the proof. This story isn't about a ball mark. It is about the fragile social contract of tennis. We play a sport where we trust our opponents to be honest and we trust officials to be fair. In Budapest, both those trusts were broken. Toth proved that you can win by the rulebook while losing the game of life. And Zhang proved that sometimes being right doesn't stop you from being hurt. The next time you see a player circling a mark on clay, remember Amarissa Toth. Remember that the line between competitor and villain is exactly the width of a tennis shoe. And remember that the officials who are supposed to protect the players can sometimes be the ones to push them over the edge. If you want to understand how the mental game destroys even Grand Slam champions and how other players have cracked under the pressure of bad calls, you need to watch this playlist on the Tennis Playbook next. It breaks down the psychology of the tour's biggest meltdowns and reveals the hidden rules that every player must follow.